Hey guys, this is Gamer Cal showing off a replay that Kib and I had during our testing of various decks here. This is the fabled Crystal game that I wanted to show off because one of my biggest regrets of the GX era was not utilizing the absolutely insane Crystal thing, like the Force the Breaker pulls that I ended up getting. So let's try and do that here. Kib is trying out Infernities here because he pulled the absolute nuts, with the exception of Infinity Barrier, which was a secret rare, so kind of hard to get hold of. Pulled the absolute nuts for Infernities in the last set that we played. So we're just giving it a shot here. With the promo trades being able to get Infinity Guardian and Archfiend, this actually has the potential to be pretty good. So his opening hand is relatively fine. Like the randomizer, it's kind of whatever. He can't use it when he doesn't have the 0 cards hand. So just gotta kind of set it to try and do something here. The Phantom hand is here to actually make sure his hand goes down to 0. That's kind of neat. I lead pretty well here. I mean, getting access to a third copy of Pegasus is really good. So we do get my 1 copy of Ruby out of the deck here. I'm only playing 1 in the main deck at the moment because I don't really want to draw it. We want to just set it with Pegasus. I do have a second one in the side deck for whenever that comes in because this could get DD Crowed. But yeah, it kind of just runs over the randomizer here. The Phantom hand doesn't really do much. I wasn't too worried about what the card could be, because even if it was Mirror Force, like, do you really want to Mirror Force a Peg when it's going into the Spell Trap zone anyway? Doesn't seem too great, right? Kib's draw for turn is kind of neat here. Infinity Guardian is pretty powerful when you can get to a 0 card hand here. So he's going to Snatch Steal the Peg here. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not really going to die to it, especially because he did use Upstart Gobbling on turn 1, so that's fine. He could MST Ruby here, not necessarily the most impactful play to do so. And then I guess this is our first actual game playing. I mean, it's not my first game playing Crystals, but it's his first game trying the Infinity stuff, so we're testing out just how this stuff even works here. And Phantom Hand is a really interesting one to go with. I didn't realize this was continuous. I thought this was just once. But no, it's just like a once per turn. If you've got an Infinity monster face up on the field, you can just banish your entire hand face down. And we were kind of wondering, okay, how do we actually do this then? And so we're going to end up seeing a little bit more info than we should here, because he's going to set the card, and because you can't banish face down straight from hand, unfortunately. So what he was thinking is, oh, I can just set these cards and then banish them face down from on the field. Where that's fine, that works, but this gives me information I shouldn't have, because this tells me that the 2 cards that he has banished are Spell Trap, right? So here I show him, this is how I would have done it. I would have put the card to the top of the deck and then banished the top card of the deck face down, because you can actually do that. If you go over your deck here, you will have an option to go banish face down. So I show him, yeah, this is how I would do it. If we're going to play Infinities in the future, this is how I think you should do it, because this hides information, right? It means that I don't know that what you have is spell traps. So again, it's a thing with it being a manual simulator. We do not necessarily know how to do all of these things straight up. There are not just intuitive commands to absolutely everything. That Feather Duster is one heck of a good top deck here, admittedly. Now, Phantom Hand is a lingering effect, as we found out here. It was one of the things we needed to go look up. It's like, okay, if I destroy this, do you get the cards back? Because we found out that, say, for Black Whirlwind, if we Torrential Tribute and kill the monster that Black Whirlwind is triggering with, it actually fizzles the card. Likewise, if you MST, normally if you MST like a continuous card, then its effect stops happening. Phantom Hand sets a lingering effect on the cards, so the hand will return. It's just yeah, different way around it. So I summon my second Peg. this will get another Crystal Beast out of the deck. I think it's Tiger that I end up taking here. My deck is basically playing Summoner Monks plus the Rescue Cat Amethyst engine that I had before. Rescue Cat, of course, lets me go into X-Saber Airbellum so I can do synchro plays. It seems like it's still very good at the moment, even if it's not necessarily the standard way that you would play crystals, right? We get rare value here as well. This makes Kib choose one of my 2 Crystal Beasts to send to my graveyard out of the Spell Trap Zone, and then I draw 2 cards off of that. So it gets rid of my, I guess, virtual advantage at the moment. Tiger goes to the grave. I do get my 2 draws here, get my 3rd peg out the deck. This Summoner Monk is a really good option for the deck because you've got a lot of spell cards that are situational, but not a lot of stuff that you can, yeah, like, there's a lot of the stuff that you just can't use at all times, right? But there's a ton of spells that you play: Crystal Beacon, Crystal Release, Promise, potentially, extra copies of the field spell, you know. Lots of stuff that you can discard for this and then special summon Pegasus out of the deck. That was the main reason why I wanted to go back and try this out. This is where we're looking up the Phantom Hand rolling and seeing, do you get those cards back? Because that would be real bad if you didn't. So yeah, also Infinity Guardian here. If I was tempted to just go like Dark Hole, but Infinity Guardian would not have been destroyed by Dark Hole. So yeah, I would have gotten Pegasus into my Spell Trap Zone, but I would not have been able to actually kill the Guardian anyway. Infinity Guardian is actually kind of hard to out. Like, I don't really have a lot of clean ways to do it. I wasn't really expecting to play this sort of deck with crystals, right? Not being able to destroy it is usually, I mean, that's usually how I take care of stuff, right? Is kill it in battle, or like Dark Hole Vageki, something like that. I don't tend to do other stuff with it as often. So we're going to set a Crystal Release here. Unfortunately, we know he's got Mystical Space Typhoon, but if he destroys Crystal Release here, then I get a Crystal Beast out of my deck into the Spell Trap Zone. This was the super rare from Jesse's pack, the Jesse Anderson's pack, that I just whiffed, and it's a fantastic one, to be honest. This is a really strong card for the crystal stuff at this time. You don't play it in the modern variants because we've got like Crystal Bonds and Rainbow Veil, I think. What was it, Rainbow Veil? There's another one that we've got that searches crystal spell traps and stuff. You don't need it nowadays, but yeah, it's pretty potent at this point. So we reveal it. I set it instead of activating it because, yeah, I would have gotten 800 attack, but then he wouldn't have MST'd it, right? Because if you can read what the card does beforehand, you know that this is not something you want to do. So I set the card to sort of bait it, going, okay, destroy my back row, I dare you. And he did. So there we go. So we get an Amethyst Cat out of the deck. I have 3 copies of Cat, so I can still rescue into 2 Amethysts if I need to. So not really any reason to hold off on that. Kib sets his 2, goes to end phase, I think, here. I remind him you should probably put your Guardian in defense here so that you don't take battle damage, and that is pretty sensible. So that's exactly what happens. And we get Crystal Blessing for turn, which I could use to get the Tiger back in Spell Trap, but there's not really a need to at the moment. So yeah, one of the few ways, and actually we get to see a new card here as well, Infinity Break. So you got no cards in hand, you target 1 Infinity in the graveyard and 1 card your opponent controls, you banish the Infinity, and then you destroy the second target. So, probably could have been played at a different time here, but we're trying to show the cards off. I did the same thing with Beast Soul Swap when I first showed Crystals. It's like, yeah, this is a card that this deck can play. So Kib goes, yeah, I'm going to blow up your Pegasus. Of course, it gets destroyed on the field, so it does move to the Spell Trap Zone. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with that. Just wanted to show the card off, and I completely understand that. It's, I mean, yeah, this is how we learn how the effects and stuff work. But we're gonna summon Rescue Cat here. I mean, Kib honestly is in a pretty safe spot to most things. Rescue Cat is not one of those things, because with Rescue Cat, I have that 1 copy of X-Saber Airbellum. It is a beast. I've put it in this deck because it's summonable with Rescue Cat, right? Airbellum just makes all of the Rescue Cat plays so much better. So we're going to go into Airbellum and Amethyst Cat. That is level 6, so we can go ahead and Synchro for 6. And this is going to be the first time that I summon this card. It is Bryonic, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. And I was like, yeah, this is probably my only actual way of outing Infernity Guardian when it is in this protected state, right? Because you discard a card out of your hand and you bounce a monster, any card on the field back to the hand, right? Probably what I should have done was bounce the face down and then gone for the destroy the dude. So I pitched my second Pegasus. I have Crystal Blessing. I can easily put it in spell trap if I want to. I bounced this monster back. I should have bounced a back row so that then I could have just destroyed Infernity Guardian because he had a card in hand. But again, this is my first time playing against Infinities. I didn't even think about that, to be honest. It's like, alright, we'll just get rid of the monster then so I can do direct attacks. But I guess if Kip draws another monster, then Guardian becomes a dead card. So this is still fine, and I get 2 direct attacks off here as well. We're not going to get hit with like Mirror Force or anything. We know this is Mystical Space Typhoon. I technically didn't know this at the time. I knew one MST because of the whole Banish malarkey before, but I don't actually know what this card is. That's fine. And as it turns out, Kip does draw another monster, and that pretty much seals up the game here because Bryonic next turn can just bounce everything back to hand and go from there. So yeah, this is like my one way of actually dealing with Infernity Guardian. I think there might be one more in the deck, but most of my stuff is destroy, so it's kind of tough, to be honest. Yeah, Infernity Guardian is pretty good. Crystal Abundance is the other way. I do have, in this build of the deck, I have 2 copies of Abundance, so if there's no pressure on me, then I can just kind of keep drawing and find that. So, we didn't end up needing Summon a Monk in this game because I had all 3 copies of Pegasus available to me, so there we go. I don't side anything here because I don't actually have a side deck built at this point in time. I think I kind of do now, but I'm still tweaking things a little bit. But at the time of this game, I didn't have a side deck really built for this one. The proof of concept was really what I was looking for. So I'm set to go first this time, and I'm like, okay, I don't have a level 2 tuner or anything, so Rescue Cat can't go into Naturia Beast in this build of the deck. Spoilers, there's a level 2 tuner it can go into next time round, but we don't have that at the moment. So I could go for Summon a Monk here. Summon a Monk would go into defense, and I would get Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus out the deck, but it would cost me my Crystal Release, which I'm not really willing to go for. So instead, what I do here is I just, even though I don't have Rainbow Ruins for this still thins the deck of a couple of cards that I don't care for, and I don't really feel like I'm getting pressured too much by the Infinity deck. I just put them straight to Spell Trap because this is all I'm doing this turn. I think, yeah, I do set the release because it is a bit of a bait still. I'm like, alright, save the time. They should go in the Monster Zone, and then when at the end of turn, because Rescue Cat Pre-Errata does not negate effects, the Crystal Beast will get destroyed and get put in the Spell Trap Zone at my choice. So I just save some time and I just put them straight in the Spell Trap Zone. Kip's hand is a little bit weird here. This sort of shows a bit of the awkwardness that that can come from the Infinity engine. Is like if you draw too many of your monsters and you can't set stuff down, it gets a bit weird. But what he can do, he's playing this little kitty up here, and it happens to be level 3, so Monster Reborn actually works for him here, because this is what he ends up figuring out, and I was just like, oh no. I did not see this coming. So Kip's gonna play this Monster Reborn down. I mean, we can just go. Okay, first off, he's gonna summon the Infinity Beetle as a level 2 tuner. Its effect doesn't really matter here because it's whilst you've got no cards in hand, but you can get more beetles out with this. It's actually pretty cool. But it's gonna Monster Reborn the Rescue Cat. And when I see this, I was like, oh no, that thing's level 3, isn't it? The beast one. And he's like, yeah, obviously he's got in hand, so it just sure is. So, like, he could have synchro for 6 here, but you know, why would you monster reborn that, right? It seems a little bit of a waste. But we could do way better. So he's actually gonna sack the rescue cat here by its effect, and is gonna pick up 2 copies of Infinity Beast, which is actually pretty strong in its own right. It's like 1600. It's kind of scary, but this is a lot of damage that's gonna come down here, and this is 8 levels on board right now. So I don't have Mirror Force in this deck right now. I mean, traps are going into the side deck of this one, just as a thing. But right now, this is just like full-on spell build, because Crystal Beasts don't generally have a lot of room to put back row down, right? Because they're already going into back row. So yeah, this is gonna hurt quite a bit. And I notice, I look at this and I just go, oh no, how am I gonna deal with that? Because Kib also pulled Infinity Doom Dragon in the last set, so he has a really good level 8 to go into here. Stardust obviously is just generally good as well, but we have an on-theme one, and that's just way better. However, if you're feeling risky enough for it, more damage will come out if you attack first. So, and I guess it's probably better to attack first here, like even if you do get Mirror Force or something. Would you rather Infinity Doom Dragon get Mirror Force so that I could potentially Monster Reborn it? I don't think so. So he just goes in. Obviously my Crystal Release is going to do absolutely nothing to save the situation here. So we just take it. That's a solid 4,400 damage total here. And we're going to Synchro for 8. Off the back of my own Rescue Cat turn 1. Like, oh no, what does this come to? And we get Infinity Doom Dragon down. It's kind of a vanilla at the moment, its effect doesn't really matter, but look at that crown. It's such a spiffy dragon, like, come on. Also, Set Mirror Force is pretty good here too. So, yeah, not a great situation, I will admit. This deck is not generally equipped to deal with 3,000 attack monsters. One of the biggest flaws of the Crystal Beast deck that I had before was that, I mean, okay, Sacred Phoenix is just a bad matchup anyway, but the Crystal Beasts were kind of unable to deal with Monarchs at 2,400. That was the problem that I had beforehand. Nowadays, though, there's a bit more of opponent target for stuff here. We are going to get Graceful Charity after rare value as well, so that Rescue Cat play turn 1 did give me a lot of draw power here. I get a second copy of Crystal Release, which is actually pretty cool here. So I kind of debate a little bit here. Again, Summoner Monk could be really good because I could get Pegasus out. Unfortunately, the problem with this is that you can't attack with the monster you summon with Summoner Monk in the same turn, so that is an issue. I need to make sure I can clear the back row just in case it is Mirror Force again. Kib has 2 of them, so I'm always kind of vigilant on that at this point. And I realize probably my best answer here is if I can get Sapphire Pegasus and equip the double Crystal Release to it. I've got to hope that he doesn't destroy my back row first, because there is one of them there, but I feel like in the end my best option here is I need to get a Peg and I need to be able to dunk him with that. And Summoner Monk, as good as it is, doesn't really do that with this hand here. So I actually end up, it took a little bit to sort of think through it, but I actually end up electing to discard the other Summoner Monk. And the reason for that is that Witch of the Black Forest is going to be able to search out the Pegasus, and I want Cyber Dragon because I need to put another monster on the board just in case there's OTK potential here. I don't know what his hand is like. I didn't know it was full of monsters. That's again, the unfortunate bit of Infinities. I have never looked up a deck list for these guys, but I can't imagine they play that many monsters because, yeah, this sort of thing would happen a lot, I imagine. Or maybe they play like the secret rare like Wave Motion Inferno or something as well to empty their hand out. I don't know exactly how it's built, but I'm like, yeah, I need to get these things down. I can freely put Rainbow Ruins in play because even though I've only got the one Crystal Beast out, that Crystal Beast will stop Rainbow Ruins getting blasted by Duster. So I'm pretty safe to summon that, to activate that here as well. Draws another Infinity monster for turn, so there's probably no way these guys are going to get their effects activated, which is a little on the unfortunate side. Infinity Beast in his hand, though, is still 1600 attack. That can still pose a threat. It's not good enough to run over Cyber Dragon, but Doom Dragon obviously is. So, given that most of the Crystal Beasts, in fact, I think the only Crystal Beast in defense position that would survive here is actually Emerald Tortoise, which I'm not playing because that card is not very good. I think Infinity Beast is actually pretty safe to summon and attack with here. Again, we're under the assumption that my back row is not Mirror Force or something, because let's face it, I would have activated Mirror Force or Torrential Tribute on the summon of the Rescue Cat, like double beast play, right? I would have already played those two cards. So he's pretty safe to attack here. I was just walling up so I didn't take 3000 damage this turn. I was thinking that's going to be a little bit too much to handle. But, yeah, here we can see Cyber Dragon's going down, no problem. And I do get the Witch trigger here. We are going to get an attack in the end. It's like, this is Witch of the Black Forest. Witch is way better than Sangan in this deck, because like both of them can search Rescue Cat and stuff, right? But Witch can search Pegasus. And getting to Peg is the way that you get your Crystal Beast deck to operate. So, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the way I needed to do things. So, we draw Pot of Greed for turn. I've gone through all of my draws at this point. Rare Value, Graceful Charity, and Pot of Greed. It's pretty good. I do Duster first, because the idea, I need to get rid of that back row first, just in case it's something like Magic Jammer. I guess he would have already played it by now, but, I mean, Mirror Force is obviously the big one for the next thing I do here. But we played the Pot of Greed. Could have arguably played Peg first, but no, Pot of Greed is fine here. Summon the Pegasus down. I think I most likely would put Tiger to the Spell Trap zone here. I mean, Cat would work as well. But I think it's either Tiger or Ruby. Ruby's usually the one you'd want to fish out the deck, I guess, at this stage, so might as well do that, right? I don't know. I don't remember exactly which way around I go for it here. It is Tiger that I bring out. Okay, so Ruby's staying in the deck for a little bit longer. I reveal the Crystal Release that's face down, so that gets me up to 2600, and then I play the second one from hand. I'm playing 3 copies of this card in this build, so that gets me all the way up to 3400 attack, which is kind of nuts, to be honest. Little not even that little, but Little Pegasus going in at over 3k, and I'm like, I don't want you being able to empty your hand here and destroy my dude, so I'm just gonna go ahead and blast that away straight now, so that I don't have to worry about it. And he's just like, aw. I was kind of aw as well. Like, it's a bit of a shame in the end to you know, have such an awesome monster come out and then just not be able to do anything with it. Kib does draw Infinity Beetle for turn, and as much as his hand has just been monster clogged the entire game so far, this is actually really good because his monster in play is level 3, which he can sink for 5, and unlike me, Kib actually pulled a level 5 synchro, like a generic one, as we go through this here. So it's looked through the extra deck a little bit. I think it actually does go ahead and realize this. It's like, oh yeah, this card would work. So he summons the Beetle, and then sinks for 5 into the Ally of Justice Catastor. Fantastic card to have around. And yeah, this just like auto-destroys the Pegasus here. There's not really anything else to it. He just attacks it, and it's like, don't care how high your attack is, you're getting blown up, good sir. Lucky for me, I kept the Rainbow Ruins around, though, because this... I should have halved the damage, actually. I didn't even... No, there's no damage to halve. That's why I didn't do it. So, Peg goes into the Spell Trap zone. Both Crystal Releases trigger, so I will get my 2 Crystal Beasts into the Spell Trap from here. And that should, hopefully, wrap the game up. Because from here... Like, what's really going to happen? I do get Ruby out and one other Pegasus, right? And it's like, what can you really do from here? So, with the cards I have in hand, Catastor's actually a little bit of an issue, mind you, because I can't really kill it with any of the beasts, and none of them are synchros or anything, or tuners to go into synchros. So I activate Effect 4 on Rainbow Ruins here, that lets me draw a card because I have 4 Crystal Beasts in play. and then I activate effect 5, which lets me special summon one of the crystal beasts to the field, and that lets me special summon all the other crystal beasts out, because Ruby does that. When she gets special summoned by any means, it brings up every other crystal beast. I don't think I had to do it this way round. I just needed a spare like spell trap slot to Dark Hole, and then like Crystal Promise would have been fine, but I think I could get a little bit more damage out here if I get other crystal beasts in play. The Sapphire Pegasus Pegasi? No, it's got Pegasuses. Sapphire Pegasus, both of them trigger, so it gets 2 more crystal beasts out the deck, so we will get a couple more beaters out here. I only play the 1 Tiger in this particular build. I think I'm going to switch to playing 2 if I keep going with this deck. But for now, there's just 1 Tiger. So we've got all the Pegasus out, and I have space in here. I'm like, I actually still can't kill this thing. So, kind of got to do something about that first. And as crazy as it is, as much as I've used my effects to just like nuke my, nuke my spell trap zone by summoning all the things, it's like, I'm gonna Dark Hole, because this is the best way I'm gonna get rid of everything on the field here. And it's like, aw. So, there goes his other synchro. I do put Ruby back in the spell trap zone as well as one of the Pegasus. I need Ruby in the spell trap zone because of Crystal Promise here. So, the other stuff goes into Grave. We do activate the Crystal Promise, or do I play Monster Reborn first? I think I might, yeah, I actually play Monster Reborn first, and I take the Infinity Doom Dragon, which, this is the reason why I summoned Ruby, put Ruby back in the spell trap zone here, because the last card that I had before the draw stuff was Crystal Promise, so we can get Ruby back in play. That special summons all the other crystal beasts that I have in the spell trap zone. I could even get a couple of crystal beasts from the graveyard back into play here. I think I've actually used every single one of my crystal beasts in deck at this point with this, because I only played a 3 Pegasus, a 3 Cat, 1 Tiger, and 1 Ruby, and that's it. You don't, I mean, I want to play like Cobalt Eagle, but it doesn't work with some of the other stuff I want to play in this here, so it's fine. And then yeah, it's like I can even get a couple of things back. Working through this should be an OTK, because we've got 300, 3300, 4500, and the 3600 total from the 2 Goobers, the 2 Pegasus. So yeah, then we go take a look through each other's decks as we do with that, as we always do. Want to like show each other, okay, this is what we were working with, this is how we felt the deck should work, etc. And yeah, Kip's Hammers unfortunately called with a lot of monsters in this one. Bit of a shame. But yeah, we were just showing each other some of the stuff here. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed yourselves in this one. Crystal Beasts are cool, and I was so close to being able to build something neat with them before. I think if I went down this sort of trade route, I might not need all 3 Summoner Monk. I still haven't actually resolved that card yet, so I don't know if I actually need all of them, but it is a good way of getting to Pegasus, especially turn 1. So, but with this one, all I really need is I need like 1 more Pegasus and 2 to 3 crystal releases to give myself the firepower and the searching capability to get all the stuff out. And then from there, I think this deck is actually pretty good, right? Because the Rescue Cat gives me, especially next run, next set, there's a level 2 tuner as well. Rescue Cat gives me some pretty good synchro stuff to play here too. And yeah, I think this deck is actually kinda good. I was also testing Arcanite Magician here because Summoner Monk can summon Rescue Cat. And then Rescue Cat can go into like Amethyst Cat and Airbellum. And Airbellum with the Summoner Monk would let me get Arcanite Magician out. And this thing gives me a couple of extra removals as well. So it's a consideration. I don't know if I'm going to trade for this as well, but it's something that I'm thinking on. Because it's kind of neat with this deck, right? If I play the Monk. So, I don't know. There's lots of cool options with it here. So, maybe look out for this deck, because I kind of liked this. Alright, I'll see you guys later on.